So I wonder who were the other like people that were auditioning for us. And it couldn't have just been like they found her like you're it. You know? I'm sure there was an auditioning process, but they're probably like, oh, amputee. That's an extra box. We weren't even looking for that.
Yeah,
but we add that in here. That's another. We're catering to the disabled.
Community,
you know
exactly.
I mean? So we got disabled. We have the deaf, hard of hearing. We have Native Americans. We have women. We have you know body positive woman. I guess if you were to call her that. You know. I don't want to assume anything, but you know. You know. So. There's all these things like, oh, we can check all these boxes off. Yeah. Let's get this person. Can she act? Who cares?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
And I think I don't know, you know, any deaf actors personally. I haven't seen a lot on screen, but you have to bring something to the table to compensate for not being able to speak, you know? So you have to show your emotions in your body and your body language, your facial expressions. Those are all things that you have to accentuate to get your performance across to show that you have some kind of emotions, and she didn't do any of that.
Yeah.
This is Geek Off The Street, your go-to channel for all things from obscure geekdom to modern-day pop culture and everything else in between.
What's up, everybody? Yes, we're back.
Yeah, we are.
We are back again, as always.
Yes, we are.
Yeah,
always.
We never let you down.
Man, we're fantastic.
We are the best. Yeah, we are the best.
How do we not have some sort of award, like world peace, humanitarian?
Yeah.
For the stuff we do.
Yeah, we do so much. Great sacrifice to do what we do.
For
you guys.
For you guys.
Because my name's Trent.
And my name is Mark.
And this is
Geek Off The Street.
We guys talk all the time, talk about geek culture, pop culture, and whatever else you want.
Deal with it.
This week is no exception because we are talking about Marvel Spotlight's first series.
Right, out of the box. It's on Disney Plus and it's on Hulu. Brand new series. Hawkeye spinoff.
Yep. Which is already kind of a spinoff, I feel like. But we're talking about Echo. Yeah, the newest Disney Plus series.
Yes.
In the Marvel universe. Yeah.
Right.
And do I have a lot to say about it? and
That's a rhetorical question. That's a rhetorical question.
Yeah, but before we get into that, though, what are we drinking this week?
We are drinking. This was a mix of your own. Well, it's not. It's
no.
Trent mixed it, but he did not invent this drink.
Yeah.
This is the famous Tom Collins.
Yeah.
Been around for a while. I'm not sure how long exactly, but I can't believe I've never had one before.
Right. It's taking me this long to try it. I've always wanted to, and when I found out what was in it, which is gin.
Enough said.
It's already enough. I could drink like that.
Yeah.
You know, but a little bit of fresh squeezed lemon juice.
Yeah.
Some simple syrup and club soda on top.
Mm-hmm.
And you guys have a really quite delectable drink.
Fantastic.
This thing is refreshing and tasty. It's got all the layers and balance. This is good.
Yeah, I think anything with gin and lemon, you're gonna be all right.
Yeah, I think so. And this one, man, tastes very good. Like this is one of my favorite drinks now. Like the gin and seven's like my thing, but this is up there with it, I think.
Yeah, this is. It's not sweet. It's not sour.
Yeah.
It's not tart, but it's got a little bit of all of it.
Yeah.
And a little bit of fizz with the club soda.
This is a great drink. You're welcome. You're welcome, world. For mixing a drink that's already invented. For me trying a drink that's old as drinks where cocktails.
I was going to say, like, the world?
Yeah. What have I done? What did I do, W?
I'll back you, man. That's what we're doing.
Yeah. But yeah, so man, I'm going to sit here and enjoy this to the show. My man had to mix another one on the air.
Yeah, I
wouldn't blame him. It was. But yeah, anyway, I'm going to give this a little bit of a tug.
Talking about the centerpiece.
Yeah, sorry if you guys aren't watching. But anyway, we now I got it. Now I got it. But anyway, so yeah, we can get into Marvel's Echo. The series is about the title character Echo, on the run from the Fisk organization.
Right.
And she is trying to escape, but then take over, but then get closer to her roots. There's a lot going on that we don't really know.
Yeah.
But it is it's a show.
It's a show. It's 5 episodes, which is easier to watch. I heard at one point it was going to be 8, and they chopped it down because they did some reshooting and some re-whatevering.
Yeah.
So it's not too difficult of a watch, I suppose.
Yeah.
I actually watched it twice. I watched it once before, then I watched it again today.
Okay.
Just to do some more research on it. And I think at first, I was a little more hot about it. Like, oh, you know, what are you doing here? What are you doing there?
Yeah.
I think after doing some research and watching it a second time, I kind of
chilled out a little bit.
Bit. I don't know if I can. I'm gonna try my best to say some positive stuff about this show.
And I wanted to watch it again too, just didn't have the time.
Sure.
Well, got preoccupied with other shows that I think
no doubt.
I'm really into that I'll talk about later. But and I watched the show a little less critically this time, just because I knew what was coming. I knew what they were gonna do with this, as they have been doing for a long time now.
Right.
And so I'm not trying my best not to lay into it.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of things that I want to talk about with the show.
Okay.
And
you want to start with the negatives?
With a lot of things. No, because the positives are gonna be much shorter. But essentially, that's the show. It's starring actress Alaqua Cox. Alaqua Cox. Has Vincent D'Onofrio reprising his role as Kingpin.
Yep.
And a few choice other actors.
Yeah, and I guess Daredevil. What's the actor's name? Is
Charlie Cox.
Charlie Cox.
Yeah, he makes an appearance as well.
No relation.
Yeah.
I'm assuming no relation anyway. I'm just gonna assume that
he's British and she's not. So that's a big difference. But he makes a short appearance in the first episode.
Very brief.
Let's get into this, I guess, huh?
Yeah, let's go.
So positives. You know, I've always been a fan of Native American culture for some reason. My favorite author is Sherman Alexie. He's a writer, a Native American writer that does a lot of Native American
very cool
reservation type writing and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and
it's I've always been a fan of that. You know, I really like the Native American culture. So to see that brought into the MCU or brought into a show that tried to represent that a little bit better was kind of cool. There's some things that were all right, some things that didn't quite fit, but it was nice to see that culture, that side. That was the culture that I think hasn't been represented.
Not really.
Yeah, at least not very much. Definitely not live action, and in a lot of media, I think it's.
I mean, the last thing and probably one of the most popular or one of the best things might be Reservation Dogs.
Oh yeah, right.
That's about it. But other than that, and that's probably I haven't watched that show in a while. I only saw the first season, but that's probably the best thing as far as that representation is concerned. And then before that, I don't even know what else you could really say. I mean, there's been some things here and there. There was they had the Predator movie. I think it was called Prey that came out. So they had that. Other than that, not a whole lot.
Yeah, they got things here and there. And then even my cousin up in Canada, she's a cinematographer.
There.
Oh, all right. She's a cinematographer in Canada. Does some pretty big projects, and she, I think, identifies with the. I'm sorry, not natives. It's
the Inuit or
no. I mean they. Oh man, sorry. The politically correct term now. They don't go by natives. It's
Oh, I don't even know.
Indigenous people. The indigenous people,
okay.
Indigenous people of Canada. I think she has blood. And so she did a film called Things We Lost in the Fire that she won Best Cinematographer for. One of the film festivals in Vancouver. Vancouver Film Festival, I think.
Very nice.
And and so there's that kind of stuff, like a lot of independent stuff, and depending on where you go, there's it's a rich culture, you know what I mean?
Sure.
And to see it get represented, or I guess attempted to get represented, it is nice. It's pretty cool. And then I also I think there are people that some people were having issues with it, but I've always been fascinated with ASL, with the American Sign Language. I've always wanted to learn American Sign Language. It's such a, I don't know. It's
interesting.
It's very interesting. Very interesting. Very, I don't know, maybe it's creative, but I like ASL. Just something about it that I really have always been drawn to.
It looks like ninjutsu.
Like what?
Ninjutsu.
Oh, yeah. Exactly. Yeah. It was
no offense.
Exactly.
But yeah, I know I get what you're saying though. Even before, watching Naruto, haha.
Yeah.
I'm the same way. I felt the same way. Like it always seemed interesting to be able to communicate with your hands.
Yeah.
Like that. So
it's always kind of mesmerizing. Even I mean, I guess I can maybe track it back to like my first crush when I was in elementary school was a girl from the school for the deaf.
Oh yeah.
She was on the flag football team actually. She was very good. But yeah, my first crush was her, and I was like, oh, cool. She's that's pretty awesome. Maybe I could be checking it out. I'm not sure. Maybe I'm just going to childhood memories, but who knows? Whatever. Point being though, I always liked ASL.
Sure.
And that was I haven't seen anything else that was this heavily like that. Like there's some shows that have like an episode or a character that pops in and out that
or a movie every once in a blue moon.
Right, has a character that's hard of hearing, but this was like predominantly that. And it's hard to portray certain emotions without speaking, I think, on screen. And so there are parts where it dragged on, but it was pretty cool to see them like unapologetically. Everyone in here is using ASL.
Yeah.
And a lot of the main characters, or I guess the main character, and her mom wasn't deaf, I don't think. But
no, her mom was.
Yeah. Oh, it was deaf?
Yeah,
okay,
yeah, she was too. I thought
she's also deaf.
Does that typically go down like that? I thought, I don't know.
Yeah.
But no, I hear what you're saying, and I agree with that. I do like that they definitely made a strong attempt to do the American Sign Language in there too. It seemed like the strongest ones were obviously Alana Alakwa, her character Maya.
Yeah.
Her character, her uncle Henry.
Oh yeah.
I thought he might have been the best thing in the show in my opinion.
He was the
guy that ran the skating rink.
Okay, yeah. I think his scenes to me were the like I was like the most interested in his scenes. Like I mean the way he performed as well.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
I thought he was I thought he was great.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then everybody else, and I get it might be difficult to just learn sign language, you know what I mean? Even enough to, fake it for that certain scene or whatever. So sometimes you'd see people on the show and they were doing sign language and they would do a couple of signs, but they would say like, 10 different words, but they would do a sign for, you saw like maybe 3 or 4 different signs. And maybe that was enough to get the point across. Or maybe that was good enough just to kind of fool the general public. Yeah, kind of thing. I don't know, but like I said, I agree. I do like seeing that representation. I also am a huge fan of Native American culture. I've always thought there has not been enough of it.
Yeah,
there's so many different nations that you know what I mean. You always think about like the big ones that you hear about all the time.
Yeah,
Apache, Cherokee, all that kind of thing. But there are so many different nations, and it's interesting. It's not interesting. It's unfortunate that there's not that many of them around. You know what I mean? That all these different nations, and they're different the same way other nations are different. They all weren't, doing that classic, TP and all this other kind of nonsense. They all have their own cultures and their own, beliefs, everything. And to see that it's almost, I don't want to use the word extinct necessarily, but to see that it's been whittled down to what it is, it is unfortunate. So,
yeah, very sad too.
It
like
is.
A lot of the reservations and that kind of stuff is very sad.
Yeah,
very impoverished. People, and to be coming from such a strong lineage,
right?
It's unfortunate.
Yeah.
It's fortunate what us Americans did.
Right. You American.
Yeah.
I kid. Let's see some other positives. I like seeing Vincent D'Onofrio. Yeah, I always want to say his name wrong. He's got too many vowels in there.
Too many syllables. Yeah.
But I do. I like him. I like what he's done with Kingpin. He's great. I don't know. I don't know how much he had to work with, so to speak, in this particular one. But I think, he still, kind of swung for the fences with it. He's still doing what he can to bring it to life.
Yeah, I was watching an interview with him, and he was saying it's the actor's job to.
Yeah, I heard.
He's like,
to
bring what I can to the table with what I have, kind of thing. And he's he's been around for a long time, actually.
He's freaking Private Pile in Full Metal Jacket.
Right. Yeah. So
great. That was a great thing in a sense.
But a good actor though, very accomplished actor. Yeah. And I think his Kingpin, at least in the Netflix series, is like the best villain I think the best MCU villain for me. I mean, not MCU, but Marvel villain we've gotten on screen.
Yeah.
For probably the best show we've gotten on screen, I think. And I mean, you know, I'll get into some other negatives later about him specifically in this one.
Yeah.
But I'll agree. It's good to see him. It's good to see him again. And get a more prominent role as well. You know, actually, we're really being the antagonists.
Right.
For the most part, yeah.
Let's see. Oh, you know what I'm gonna say too, and this is kind of a negative and a positive, but the negative side of it is, and I'll just throw it out there really briefly, is her powers in the show. I don't like that they changed her powers necessarily.
Yeah, and why?
And why?
Which we'll get into.
Yeah. But I will say that on the flip side of it, I do kind of like that power that they gave her. I thought that was interesting that she is able to. I don't know if they did it very well, in all honesty. I feel like they probably could have done a better job of it. How she was able to draw upon, you know, past ancestors for their, you know, skill set, powers, abilities, whatever. I mean, maybe skill set is a better way to put it, you know, strategy, you know, cunning, all this different stuff, how they put it. Yeah, healing, strength, as it turns out later. Yeah. So I do like that concept of her being able, like having this, you know, almost like an arsenal, so to speak, of ancestors to pull from. It's only like 4 of them, I think, but I like the concept of it.
The idea of it.
Yeah, the idea of it is
great,
good. I think it needs to be expanded upon.
Yeah, and executed a little bit better.
And definitely executed better.
The way it was kind of laughable. But
yeah, exactly. Yeah, especially once you get to the end of the series, it gets worse.
Yeah.
But that's the reason why we normally, like, sometimes we have very specific centerpieces. So
I think more often than not, it's more often than 75% at least.
Yeah, you're probably even more than that. But every once in a while, it's just something random. But this was very specific.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, so you can hop in anytime. This is the character. If anybody watching the video will see this character on the center, he's called Taskmaster.
Yes.
The character was in the Black Widow movie.
Yeah.
Again, not done well, poor execution.
Yeah.
But like I said, for anyone listening, Taskmaster has this great power set of, he has basically photographic abilities. Yeah. Where once he sees something, he can learn it. And basically, Maya's character in the comic book was the same way. So these are the only 2 characters in the comic book that we know of anyway that have this power. Yeah. Like at one point in time, they thought in the comic book that they thought maybe she has some sort of learning disability, and then she sees like her teacher play the piano, and she sits down and she plays like concert level piano. Like after, again, just. This is her first time seeing this person play or whatever. Yeah. And she's able to do it. So that's the reason why, that's what made her such, you know, so dangerous. Yeah. You know, because she was an enemy of Daredevil.
Yeah. There's a perfect villain for someone like Daredevil too.
Right. You know what I mean? Yeah. And just be able to look at, that's another thing, how she really got so dangerous was she studied videos of what Kingpin had her do, watching Daredevil and Bullseye. So she kind of adapted both of their skill sets. So not only can she fight and be, you know, acrobatic like Daredevil, but she has the marksmanship of Bullseye. Yeah. And this is just from sitting and watching it. So there's never been a good representation of Taskmaster or of this skill set. But I am a huge fan of it. I think it's very interesting. It's very creative. Yeah. That's thinking outside the box as opposed to just, you know, giving somebody laser beam eyes or something crazy. Right. So, like I said, I do like that power. They didn't do it in this show, but I do like what they did with her power that she had in the show. But like we were saying, it definitely needed to be executed better.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I 100% agree. Yeah. Kind of unfortunate because that is a cool power. Like that's a very cool power. And now both times it's either been utilized incorrectly. Yeah. Or just not at all.
Dumped altogether. Right.
Which is unfortunate because Yeah. And when are we going to? Probably not now at this point. Let's
not
make
at
a
this
brand
point,
new character.
right.
Yeah. Or give us the
real
Taskmaster
in the
Black Widow's
Black Widow was weird. She was like computerized.
That's why she's gonna do. Yeah, like I mean, whatever you talk about the gender swap thing, whatever but to make the ability computerized, I was like, that's you take it away, taking away all the ability and the cool part about it.
Exactly, the coolness of it, and that's what makes that power so dangerous. You know what I mean? If you're fighting somebody and they can look at you, and they've got your style down.
Right, yeah.
You know what I mean? In addition to whatever style they also have in the background because they watch somebody else do it.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
That's dangerous, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's not the same, but like with Deathstroke, like his actual power is that he gets like a 1 second look into the future, basically. But when it comes to combat, so he can see he has a second ahead of what you're going to do.
Oh, geez.
So it's like, how do you beat a guy that can kind of see in the future, you know?
Yeah. It's a little bit Jedi-ish, huh?
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, so, and if you're good like Deathstroke is, then you know how to take full advantage of that. That 1 second's like that's more than enough.
Minute. Yeah,
that's more than enough.
Yeah, that's the cool part. Yeah, I think I like that about Deathstroke is that he's used that. It's kind of a smaller ability, but built it around his physical skill sets, his fighting ability, his shooting weapons, that kind of stuff. So yeah. So anyway, the practical, exactly right. But the practical abilities like that are really cool. Yeah. But they haven't been used yet. Right. I think so. That was kind of a bummer with this. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Any other positives?
Any other positives? Yeah. I mean, well, I do like the way in the first episode, the way it starts off, it shows like these people living they're in a cave kind of thing. These, they essentially, they kind of come off as like these elemental type beings or these beings of the earth or however you want to call it. They come off as more than human. Yeah. Almost like maybe like elf, like they're just something enlightened or something extra about them. That scene looked great. Like we're in that cave and the way it's, the way it's lit and the lighting and, it looked fantastic. It looked very cool. So that looked cool. That was nice. You know what? I feel like I'm going to say something about this later too, but I do. And again, I appreciate the fact that they were trying to have some sort of representation here. Yeah. But again, I think this is that's part of their downfall a little bit too. Yeah. Because it almost feels like they're doing it more so they can pat themselves on the back and say, look what we did. Yeah. We're the first ones to have this kind of representation. We're the first one to have, ACL. We're the first one to have a deaf, main character or superhero kind of thing. And I feel like when they focus on trying to be the first one to do A, B, or C, the audience is an afterthought. Yeah. They get lost. The story gets kind of pushed to the side more or less, and they're focusing more on, the accolades that they can give themselves. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I've said it before, man, if you want to pleasure yourself, it's all good. Just do it at home. You guys want to pat yourself on the back and be proud of yourselves or, whatever you want to do, just don't do it in public. Don't make us watch it. Yeah. And I feel like that's kind of where they got stuck. Again, you said, I would love to see Native American culture, represented more. But it needs to be done well. Right. You know what I mean? I was thinking if they had done with Miles Morales and Spider-Man, if they introduced that character and all of a sudden he's having, visions of Puerto Rico or something, it's is that, I mean, the character is successful because he's an interesting character. Yeah. Not because they're trying so hard to latch on to, whatever X factor that's not part of the typical, American conversation, and they want to kind of force it out there. Right. So my thing is don't force it. And it would be great if they did something and they made this character interesting and everybody liked her, everybody was excited about the show. And then I would say maybe in the next season might be a good time to bring out a lot more of the Native American culture of her, powers and all that kind of thing. And again, I realized why they kind of had to do it this way a little bit because they changed her powers and they had to kind of explain the reasoning why. she's able to do what she did. But again, it just felt like they were trying to, just kind of force this down our throat a little bit. Even with Miss Marvel, when I can't remember the name of that of the event when Pakistan and India split. They kind of forced that into the show. It felt like it didn't really fit into the show. They tried too hard to force it in there so they can tell the public, about this happened in Pakistan, this kind of thing happened.
And we're the first ones to put it in our show.
And put it in our show. And it's like, that's not the way to do a show.
Yeah. And there's already like plenty of that and with her home life. Like it's very, very apparent who her parents were, what their beliefs were, where they were from, what the household was like, and with her brother and that kind of stuff. It was already very apparent how culturally diverse she was in this world. You know what I mean? And that's plenty. You already got it right there. Like show us that Pakistani American second generation home life, how that differs from a typical American kid. And that's good.
Right.
Like that's plenty. Like there's no need for the extra, right?
Yeah.
Because now it's like you're overcorrecting. It's like, we need diversity.
Yeah.
But let's do as much diversity as we can.
Yeah.
Like for this show, it felt like there were a lot of boxes checked off.
Exactly.
For this one. And they kept checking boxes off.
Yeah, right.
More and more. And it's like, okay, now it's just, what is this show really about at this point?
Yeah.
And to even now, I don't even really know.
Right.
Once we get into the negatives. But
yeah.
So I 100% agree. Like, they're trying too hard. They're trying too hard, and it's coming off as not genuine.
Right.
And more self-serving than it is for actual representation.
Right. And the audience doesn't want to be a part of that, and I hope that people in the Native American community, I hope they feel some sort of representation from it, by it. I hope. I mean, I don't know if they do or not, because when it's not done well, it's insulting. It's, it's almost pandering. Like the shirt that I'm wearing right now, like, anybody looking at it, you may not be able to, you can't see it if you're doing the audio.
Yeah.
But if you look at it, there's this black superhero is on my shirt, right? And all this is, some people are going to get it. Most of you will probably not. This is from it's like a PSA style thing, and this character is called Verb.
Okay.
Right? And it's just an educational thing to kind of teach kids literally about verbs. You have conjunction, junction, what's your function? You have, I'm just a bill, all this different stuff. It all comes from the Schoolhouse Rock thing, right?
Okay, yeah.
So I wore it again. I wore it specifically for this reason, because it was representation. I think back in episode 0, so the second time I'm talking about episode 0 and 2 episodes.
Yeah. It's a good episode.
It's a good episode. It's a good episode. There was not, and again, this is me as a little kid, like, I don't know, 5, 6, 7. There wasn't a lot of black representation as far as superheroes were concerned. Now you have them in TV, like in the early 80s, and they were always just kind of there. Most of the time they were just kind of there. Sometimes they'd be like the chief or something like that, to show like, oh, here's a black person with some sort of authority, but the stars of the show are going to be these other guys running around doing whatever. And and it's almost like it's a token character essentially,
Yeah.
So again, growing up, being a kid into comic books and superheroes and all that kind of stuff, there weren't a lot of black characters to look at. They had a TV show called Super Friends. They had Black Vulcan was on the show.
Oh, okay.
But he was in like, if there were 100 episodes, he was in 2 of them or something stupid. And then when it felt like pandering. It felt like it was a token character. The only real black superheroes that I saw, that I consider like real black superheroes on TV, were from, bear with me, The Cosby Show. They had the Brown Hornet.
Okay.
And he was just a part of their show. So you had the Brown Hornet, and then you had Verb.
Okay,
These were the only like characters that felt like they were black African American characters that felt like they were like genuine real cultures that, or characters that kind of looked, talked, sounded the same way, I grew up, kind of thing. So that's where those are the only black superheroes I saw. So the reason why I'm asking if Native American people feel represented by this. Did this character come off as too much was it pandering too much? Do they feel like, and sometimes when you see even a little bit of your culture, you latch onto it and you're glad to see it. Again, talking with my friend, Dr. Lyles, CL Chillin out there. He and his daughter watched Blue Beetle. And they got a lot of the references that were in there. And I knew what they were. I didn't know what they were specifically. But a lot of the references and jokes that they made in there, little cameos or little scenes they had in there, they saw them and they got them. And I think they appreciated that. So on some level, I'm assuming Native American people are going to appreciate this. But also on another level, if it's not done well, and I guess that's going to be it, and that's going to be in the eye of the beholder, I suppose. But if they feel like it is a pandering, or if it was kind of a token thing, or maybe they just use this as part of the agenda, and they see it, and they're like, "You're just using my culture to push your, agenda that you're trying to push." Maybe they don't feel like this did anything for them,
right? Yeah. And I can't speak, obviously, can't speak for any Native American indigenous people. You can't really ask that, but I watched a couple of review videos about Echo just to get some more context, and there are a couple people that commented like, "I'm Native American, I don't feel represented." Like, I saw a couple of those comments, and I was like, "Oh yeah, okay, so maybe." And I'm sure there are more people. Maybe there are people that did feel it, right? But I even I think I talked about the Shang-Chi episode. I'm not Chinese, but I'm from I am an Asian from Asian household, and it felt like pandering to me, like to zoom in on him taking his shoes off, or to or not zoom in, but cut to him taking his shoes off, or like having him tell stories about getting bullied because he was Asian, and talking about Gangnam Style and that kind of stuff. I was like, it didn't feel like it was very genuine, like the actual conversations and the households and stuff, and it seemed like it was very pandering.
And just because they might have like a few things in the background to show, like some pieces of art or furniture or whatever to show that this is an Asian household, a Latino household, a Native American household,
right?
Like is that enough?
Exactly, yeah. Because I don't think I've ever seen an American made, I don't know, Asian show that I thought was representative, but like in anime all the time, obviously they're made in Japan. I see a lot. I recognize a lot of things in there because my mom's from Japan. That's how I grew up. I grew up in that household, So, maybe it's obvious that's different, kind of different, but you latch onto the things that feel genuine. And when it's like a Japanese person making a Japanese show, as a Japanese person, I connect to that. But like as somebody like Disney making these series, with an outside looking in kind of thing, like this is what this represents this culture. Let's do it this way,
right?
And then it's coming off as like, hey, look at us. It's like a virtue signaling, It's like this is, look at us. We're representing them. We're representing this. We're doing this. We're doing that. But none of it is genuine, And I think, I know it's not coming off as, it's not working. It's not working, I think I meant to say so.
No, that's all good. You want to start with a negative?
I'm gonna start with some lighter negatives.
Ooh,
the first one is I know I'm compartmentalizing my negatives now because it's just getting out of control, as I have so many of them these days. But this show, it tried very hard to be Daredevil. It tried very hard.
I definitely saw that. Yeah.
And it was marketed,
especially in that
way.
First fight scene that you see.
Right, exactly.
Oh my gosh,
and
they were trying so hard.
Did you know that they released that clip like a couple days before the show came out?
Oh, really?
They leaked it onto on YouTube so everybody can see it. To get excited about it. And they wanted to come. And I was like, dude, they're trying to be Daredevil.
Yeah.
And then they're doing like, this is gonna be a TV mature show. I still don't know why. Like, what in the show needed to be TV mature? It didn't seem like. How'd they get that rating? Like I'm wondering about that, but it didn't have any of those elements really at all. Like they tried to be like, okay, we're gonna do some heavy fight scenes, some long shot takes and stuff that they didn't do well either. But they were trying so hard to emulate that, and like,
it was almost like when you saw it, it was like
nice try, Junior, but this isn't Daredevil.
And
like it kind of felt like the creators, and I'm blanking on the director's name right now, but the creators of this series heard about the Daredevil Netflix series and were like, yeah, I think I got an idea about it. Let's do it over here. But didn't really watch the show and take out what people actually enjoyed about it. And then they try to market it as like, oh, this is like Daredevil. This is like, we're getting back to the gritty street level heroes. And they didn't do a good job of that at all.
Yeah. And that was the only scene that was like that too, right? I'm trying to think, like the scene in the skating rink wasn't even
they tried to do like some of those, like the pan shots of the fight scenes, like the long, but that scene had cuts. Like they tried to do weird, like maybe it was a style thing, but they tried to do things where it would pan and then cut, but pan still, cut and pan. It was really weird. I had to watch it back 2 or 3 times to really see what was going on. And I think it was a stylistic choice, but they tried to like cut it to like make it look like it's more like focusing on the fight. But like it didn't work at all to me. And so they were trying to do those kind of like longer fight sequences with the pans and the long, like the less cuts kind of thing.
Right.
But there are more cuts for some reason. But yeah, it isn't like, I don't know, like they tried to emulate it and they did not do well.
Yeah.
And I think it just seemed like oh, let's just, if Kingpin's in it, that's gonna be Daredevil. It's gonna be the same thing, but it's not. It wasn't the same thing.
Yeah.
They really neutered him a little bit, I think, in a lot of ways.
Definitely.
Yeah. But and we were talking about how his, Vincent D'Onofrio is a good actor.
Yeah.
And he does what he can with the source material, but like this, it seemed like he was forcing some things, try to make it seem like he's Kingpin versus in the Daredevil series it was very natural.
Yeah.
That he was this guy is a force to be reckoned with.
Right.
So yeah, it was trying very hard to tap into the audience that loved Daredevil, and it was insulting.
Yeah, and yeah, again, I will 100% agree with that because when you see that and at the first when you see it, you're like, okay, I don't know why she's kind of, you know what I mean. Even within the scene itself, they were like, you got some.
Oh, do I?
Yeah, it's like the lemon.
Oh, the lemon, gotcha. Thank you.
Yeah, I was gonna say I just won't say anything
for the whole episode. I just love lemon on his face. Yeah.
Just kind of nitpicking some of that. I mean, just some of it, like they brought her there to fight, and then she was kind of standing off to the side, and she was afraid to fight. She didn't want to get into it, and all that kind of whatever is going on. But yeah, the fight in and of itself was you can see they were trying hard, and it was a lot of things where I think they were probably proud of themselves, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But it wasn't done well. I keep thinking about this guy had a mug and the fight's like breaking out. The fight has already started. People have been shot and killed. And he's got a mug and he turns around and the mug gets shot. I'm like, why are you still holding a mug?
After all this.
Yeah, after all this, like people have already been shot and killed.
Yeah.
You're next. And you're sitting there with the mug just so you can turn around and have the mug explode in your hand as you die.
Yeah, and they probably, this is gonna look great.
But it
doesn't make sense, like sequentially. You know what I mean? Yeah.
And then just the fight choreography was not as smooth as the Daredevil stuff was. Especially when you see somebody like stand there and they kind of shake a little bit and then they get hit.
Yeah.
Or you know what I mean? It's like they're like,
they're phoning it in. They're not phoning it in, but like they're adding a little too much.
Yeah, so they can give the other person enough time to turn around and hit them, or they'll bump their head and they're like, they start rattling like, it's like if you bump your head and you keep going, especially if you're in a fight for your life. You're not gonna
adrenaline's gonna fix a lot of those little things.
Those kind of things. Yeah. So that's just that's kind of whatever. But I 100% agree.
Yeah, and even with the Lacra Fox, which I guess she is a martial artist. Like she's a martial artist, but her fight scenes didn't look like she knew how to fight to me.
Yeah,
like especially all the Daredevil fight scenes. Like she was throwing some like crazy wild punches and like getting beat up. And I mean, obviously it's Daredevil.
Yeah, and I'm glad they showed her taking some hits and she got up. So I was cool with that.
But it did not seem like she was a martial artist. Like somehow the choreography neutered her natural abilities somehow because she can fight. Apparently, she does have like a lot of training. She's a martial artist first, and she's not even really an actress.
Yeah. Obviously.
Yeah. Obviously. But so I don't know what happened there.
Yeah.
But like if you have someone who can naturally already fight, how do you make it look like she can't fight?
How do you do that right?
How do you make it look like an actor?
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So that was kind of very, very apparent. Very apparent that the choreography wasn't there. There are probably people that weren't I mean, maybe they're I don't know. Maybe they obviously had to have professional stunt coordinators and that kind of stuff and choreographers, but I don't know how experienced they were, or you know,
and especially maybe if you're doing something like that as well, that's something else you got to take into account. I hear you. I agree with that.
Yeah. So that was a very, I didn't like it at all.
Yeah.
They're trying to do something that was like basing it off something that was amazing and trying to pass it off as the same thing.
Right.
Like,
and again, maybe for them, for a Marvel show,
they probably thought
that was them being gritty, you know. And they do show people like getting shot and killed, you know.
Yeah.
Like when that first scene, like the Kingpin, thanks for your loyalty, and the guy turns around and shoots his coworker.
Right.
Like they were like, okay, they're like, this is us being gritty. And then when in the skating rink, when the other guy gets, you know, he's the guy that was supposed to be making the deal.
Oh yeah.
When he gets shot and killed, and he kind of jumps over, he's trying to jump over the, you know, the banister or whatever.
Oh yeah.
And he kind of like dies in our face kind of thing. It's like, that's not that shocking to me. I mean, to you guys are showing blood or whatever, but keep in mind, like I can turn on like 90 other shows and see so much worse. So again, for them, I'm sure they were like, they should
probably have a disclaimer. It's like gritty for Marvel.
Yeah.
When you talk about how gritty your show is, like it's gritty for us,
right?
Not for the rest of the movie and TV watching audience. You know,
and then have like Mickey Mouse going like, what? It's like gritty. Yeah, it's gritty for us. Yeah, and have like a rainbow. And Tinkerbell like doing whatever. Yeah, for you guys.
Yeah, I don't know. It didn't even seem like it was that violent to me. This show, like I don't even know. I'm blanking, obviously. I'm not sure there are other shows or other movies in the MCU that were more violent or not, but I'm probably not. Maybe not,
I honestly don't think so. I don't think, especially like, you know, just like people getting shot and killed. Like I don't think you've seen that much in anything else.
Okay.
I mean, that's the reason why they're dissing it, you know, with that whole Marvel spotlight thing. It's like, oh, you know, it's not us, it's them. And I honestly don't think Disney realizes like, we don't care. We don't care that if you guys put out something ultra violent, I think they're under the impression people are going to be like, you put out something ultra violent, my children can't be involved with this. I'm never going to Disneyland. It's like, shut up.
Yeah.
These guys sell out their you know, their tickets, their season passes, their D23, all this stuff. They sell it out like crazy. The only reason why people might not be buying stuff now is because all the bad content you're putting out. That's just not entertaining. I think that's where they're losing money, probably. But people are still going to Disney. People are still going to the parks, and they're still consuming content. All they're gonna do is they're not gonna consume that. I feel like somebody needs to tell them that. Like, stop worrying about what you think some fictitious, you know, parent conference is gonna do. Like, they're gonna like start picketing
you.
Is gonna do, exactly. They're gonna start boycotting you or something like that. You guys are fine. You're Disney. You're bulletproof. Even this new Steamboat Willie movie coming out. Like, I don't know if they're gonna end up suing them. You know, because it's hitting the 100-year mark, right? So the whole, I was gonna say statute of limitations, but I don't think that's the right term. Anyways, the so
public domain, maybe.
That's it, public domain. Yeah, Mickey Mouse becomes part of the public domain, and that's exactly when they're gonna drop that movie, on the day it becomes part of the public domain. So, you know, good for them. And I don't know if Disney's gonna, you know, sue, do whatever. They probably would have done it already. But here's the thing: nobody cares. People are gonna watch that are into horror. They're gonna laugh at it because it seems like it's gonna be something funny more than it is scary. And then the next day they're gonna turn around and they're gonna go to Disneyland, and they're gonna spend, you know, hundreds upon hundreds of dollars just to get in. And then once you get inside,
times thousands of
people.
You
Exactly.
know,
Times thousands of people. You're gonna be fine. Stop tripping. Just
Freaking if the Hogwarts Legacy game can be the best-selling game of the year with the controversy with the J.K. Rowling, the trans stuff.
Oh yeah,
like if it can still be the best-selling game, I think it sold like 800-some million copies or something like that. A bunch of people were like, "Oh, we gotta boycott it because, you know, J.K. Rowling's bad." And
you did it, guys.
Yeah, good job, guys.
Yeah. Good on you.
Yeah, good fight. Keep the fight up. It became the most the best selling game of the year. You know what I mean? So I was like, if that
and it looks great. I've never played it, but
I need to get a copy of it because I want to play it. It looks great. Yeah, but with that said, though, like if they can be fine, you can be fine.
Yeah, you'll be fine too.
Just put out if you're gonna put out one of the 30 things that are being violent and gritty, like make it actually violent and gritty. No one's gonna bat an eye.
No one's gonna care.
Yeah, and you guys put the parental guidelines now on Disney Plus anyway. So what's the big deal?
Right.
I mean, so it's just hiding behind this. I don't know if they've convinced themselves, so they tricked themselves into believing that they're doing something like gritty and violent and edgy, but they're really not, or they're in some kind of bubble that they don't.
I definitely
they don't see outside of it, or like I don't know what the fuck Feige's doing, man. Like you got to learn. It's been a good while now.
At this point, right?
At this point, that what you're doing isn't working. Yeah. And doubling down on what's not working is not gonna, it's not gonna just tip at some point.
Yeah.
People are gonna continue to not like it. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. It feels like they just refuse to admit that they might have done something wrong, so they have to keep doing it to be like, no, we feel like we're right, and they're gonna keep. Yeah. It's strange to watch somebody do something so self-destructive, just to keep their pride or whatever the case may be. I don't know. I feel like it probably is a pride issue between that and all the boxes they're trying to check off.
Yeah,
it feels like it is. It comes down. It does feel like a pride issue. Yeah, you know, and on some levels, especially not so much nowadays, unfortunately, but back in the day, I would honestly say Hollywood was very influential about changing public opinion, especially back in the 60s. And if you look at a lot of the movies that Sidney Poitier made, they back then, I don't have to tell you about America in the 60s. If I do, then I can't help you. But well, I mean, I can, but that's not this isn't the point of it. This isn't the point of it right now.
Yeah, we'll help you some other time.
Some other time. Yeah. You're right. So. It did do things to help people see different communities in a different light. You know what I mean? But back then they were doing it, it felt like, for genuinely altruistic reasons. Yeah. Now it feels like they're doing it just so they can, again, so they can jack themselves off and be like, look what I did. Yeah. Look what, I'm the first one to talk about this. I'm the first one to talk about that. I'm bringing a spotlight to this and that. Right. But you're bringing it out there, but you're doing it poorly. So yeah,
I mean, I've talked about this a couple of times, I think now, but like when they did Miles Morales, like it did really well. And he happened to be diverse. And then when Kamala Khan came out, like Miss Marvel, that broke record sales for Marvel Comics and the comic book, because the comic books, they don't do great in sales. They do okay, but and that one broke record sales. And after Kamala Khan came out and Miles Morales, it was like everything. It was like, okay, we're making, all right, Thor's going to be Jane now. Yeah. Captain America is going to be Falcon now. And they changed everything. They just kept doing, like, oh, we got to do this, we got to do that, we got to do this, because that's what's going to sell. And then like it got bad. Like none of it was written well. They were just like putting whoever on the stories, and they're just writing shit. And then, like none of those stories were good. Like the Miles Morales one was great because Bendis was writing it, and it was like from a good place. The Kamala Khan stuff was good back in the beginning when I was reading it. Yeah. But after that, it just like, it was like everything was changing because they're like, oh, diversity sells. Let's just change everything. Yeah, yeah. And like now, I think with the climate of the world, with the the woke movement and that kind of stuff, it's like diversity is what people want. Like we gotta check all these boxes because people are gonna show up to watch them when they know they're diverse. Yeah. But they're not. But they're not. They're not. Yeah. Nobody's showing up to it, and that is the only difference in your guys' product now. Like, also, it's not written well either. Like, the stories aren't written well, but we don't care about the characters, and it's just, and it's like they're good because they're deaf. They're deaf Native American amputee. Yeah. Not because they're just anything good character. About the character. Yeah. Right, so
that's it right there.
Yes, I mean it's like
that is it right there.
That's I think an overall issue, and it's somehow still going. Yeah. Like there have been enough projects for you to look back, do a focus group, do some analytics, and be like, why did this one not do well and this one did do well? Yeah, let's see, let's compare them. There's enough now. There's enough data for you to compile and figure out what's going wrong here. Yeah. but it's not changing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. If you're so focused on your own agenda.
Right. Yeah.
You know?
So I don't know, that's pretty wild. But anyway, more negatives.
I think that was my biggest thing was the whole diversity and, you know, again, how people felt about it and the lack of it and it not being done well.
Yeah.
Again, talking about having a character that people are interested in or, you know, that they like or whatever. I know everybody tries their best to, you know what I mean, to make something good.
I don't know why I'm laughing. I'm not
because you already know I'm trying to I'm trying to gently trying to hold your hand when I push you off the cliff. I don't
even know what you're gonna say, but for some reason I'm already pre-laughing because I know what you're gonna say is gonna make me laugh.
So I'm trying to be like, how do I gently tell you like you suck?
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say that, but I will say it was there was some pooch screwing that took place on this, and they went back for seconds. And again, it goes back to the main character, Alaqua Cox.
Yeah.
And again, I know everybody tried their best, I'm sure, to do this, to put out this product. Her character was not that engaging, I suppose. Like she had the same expression
the whole time,
all the time. I think. I mean, I didn't count, but I think I saw her smile maybe 3 times throughout this whole entire show.
I can only recall 2, but maybe there are 3. There could be 3.
I know. I'm just like, that's
but she had the same kind of expression.
Yeah, she had the same expression like the whole entire time. There was never any like there were no peaks, no highs and lows. It was always this constant I don't know, like I'm standing here. Kind of thing.
Right.
And again, she's probably a martial artist first. This was her big breakout role playing this character. I think before this, she did stuff in high school. She acted. Yeah. And when I say acted in high school, I think she was just kind of a background character in the high school play kind of thing.
Yeah. Okay.
So, you know, she's not an actor. And I think maybe again this goes right back into kind of what we were saying when you're trying to check these boxes. And this is what a lot of people are doing nowadays. A lot of movie studios are doing this. Instead of just worrying about hiring somebody that's good for the role, they're focusing more on checking boxes. So I'm sure I know there have to be a decent amount of Native American actors out there. I'm sure there are not a lot because there's not a lot of Native American people, unfortunately, in all honesty. Not enough, but there have to be some if you have to get a Native American actor, there has to be one out there.
There's a talent pool for sure.
Right. There's got to be one out there that knows how to do ASL. There's got to be. You know, but when you're looking for one that is an amputee, and I don't even think Echo's character is an amputee in the comic book. So
so they went out of their way.
Yeah, that's just an extra thing, you know. So yeah, when you're trying to do all this stuff as opposed to just hiring someone that's good for the role, then you know, and that's what actors do. Actors pretend to be somebody else so they can play a role. That's how it's been forever and a day.
Yeah.
And I get sometimes like you might want to correct that, like, you know, back in Shakespeare's day, like women weren't allowed to be on stage. I get it. Sometimes when they have, you know, when they need a black character, they, you know, have somebody that's white that does it, or an Asian character. They have somebody that is Caucasian play that character because they don't hire somebody to do it. But when you pigeonhole yourself to that extent, where we can't hire anybody that unless they are Native American, already deaf, amputee, all this kind of stuff, you've got like maybe 3 people you can choose from. Maybe.
Yes, I wonder who were the other like people that were auditioning for. It couldn't have just been like they found her, like you're it. You know, I'm sure there's an auditioning process, but they're probably like, oh, amputee. That's an extra box. We weren't even looking for that.
Yeah, right.
We add that in here. That's another. We're catering to the disabled.
Yeah,
community, you know
exactly. I mean?
Yeah. So we got disabled. We have the deaf, hard of hearing. We have Native Americans. We have women. We have you know body positive woman, I guess, if you were to call her that, you know. I don't want to assume anything, but you know, so there's all these things like, oh, we can check all these boxes off. Let's get this person. Can she act? Who cares? Right.
Right.
And I think I don't know, you know, any deaf actors personally. I haven't seen a lot on screen, but you have to bring something to the table to compensate for not being able to speak, you know. So you have to show your emotions in your body and your body language, your facial expressions. Those are all things that you have to accentuate to get your performance across to show that you have some kind of emotions. And she didn't do any of that. So I don't. So
it was, man, the performance was, and it did not come off as like some sort of like, it didn't come off as stoic. It didn't come off as like brooding. You know, it didn't come off that way. It just came off as if she did not know how, like a statue. She didn't know how to emote any other emotions. So
it's the same as like an actor that doesn't know how to be angry or to be sad or to cry on stage. They doesn't do it, and it comes off very obviously that they can't do it when they try to do it and can't. You know what I mean? It's the same thing with that. Like she was trying to act, but she didn't know how to do it. She just wasn't. She's not an actress.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's very apparent. She says that in all of her interviews. I'm not an actress. I don't have a lot of acting experience. Blah blah blah. And I was like, clearly you don't. So that's not to be mean to the person herself. I'm sure she's
like,
fine.
again, like I said, I'm sure you know she did the best that she could. You know, but if you're not trained well in how to do something, you know, I could try my best to be like a computer engineer or to you know fucking hack into NASA. I don't know who's hacking into NASA, but I am not the guy for that role.
Right.
Kind of thing. So if anybody out there, you just think like, oh, I could be an actor, I can just go and do that. I think twice. I don't know if you can just do something like that. Not do it well anyway. I mean, you could stand there and be on camera, but that doesn't mean that you can, you know, do it well. So
unless you're one of those few naturally talented people.
That's true. And there's some out there.
Most people have to work for it, you know, to build those skills, you know.
That's to be good at anything, you have to work at it, because even no matter how talented you are, you know what I mean? Between like talent, effort will beat talent 9 times out of 10. You know what I mean? Especially if the talent's not putting forth any effort. So
exactly. No, I agree 100%. So she wasn't right for this role, I think. And I think they brought her in for the wrong reasons.
Or maybe whatever role they created wasn't a good role to try to put somebody in. Look, again, a role where you have somebody that is, you know, deaf, amputee, you know, all the check boxes, you know what I mean? So I'm trying my best not to like throw her under the bus directly kind of thing, but
but as just taking her acting ability, her talent, as a hired talent, she didn't have that talent. That wasn't where her strength was at, you know. And I don't know where her strength was at in this at all, because you know what was great about it, you know. So there's that. There's like this is what's been prevalent in most MCU, more comic book, superhero, anything, any movies. The you know, there's a big girl boss movement, you know, and there was a lot of that in here. I mean, it wasn't like as bad sometimes, but then it was bad in other times. And this was one that actually really bothered me a lot, and this is when I knew, I was like, okay, this is what they're doing. Like there was that, I mean, the first one I kind of started like side-eyeing a little bit. That first moment of dialogue when she was like, Kingpin had his run, now it's time for a queen. And I was like, okay, now I kind of see where you guys are going, but let me step back and just keep going. In the next episode, it starts off with that lacrosse, right? Now, I'm a big lacrosse guy. I played lacrosse in high school.
I don't think it was technically lacrosse, but
But not technically, but like a stick ball type thing. You know, it was similar to that. That was the sport. But like back, so I was a big lacrosse guy. I played in high school, like my favorite sports. And then I wrote papers about it in high school because I was really into it. Learned about where it came from. It's a Native American sport. It is like the oldest sport in America, technically, if you really think about it.
Nice.
And there's a lot of history about it because of how far back it goes, and the reason it was used to solve disputes sometimes between like to avoid
that's real
like to avoid killing and going to war.
Even the stickball thing.
Yeah, they put the stickball in lacrosse. This is how they competed. This is how they solved their problems a lot of times. Sometimes.
Yeah.
And then it became a sport eventually. My issue was that like then women weren't allowed to play.
Yeah,
women were not allowed to play.
Right.
I mean, I can't speak for every single Native American, every single time they played, every single person through history.
Yeah.
Obviously, we don't know.
Did every single Choctaw tribe.
Yeah, didn't allow their women to play. But like the men a stick was put in their hand when they were toddlers, and they were buried with their best stick when they died.
Ooh, wow.
You know what I mean? So this was serious, but the women didn't have them. So they weren't allowed to play. So for them to take, like, we're trying to represent this culture, but then to be like, but we're making the woman the best one out there.
Yeah, yeah.
When like that didn't even happen. That wasn't even accurate.
Right.
So it became really apparent. It's like, okay, so you guys are changing history.
Yeah, just
to get your agenda across, to make this like a very girl power, boss. Like the women are the matriarchs. We're the ones that pass down the knowledge and information. When that wasn't the case for this specific thing.
Yeah.
So there are moments like that. After that, I was like, okay, I clearly see what you guys are trying to do, and it's no different than everything else you guys have done in the last 3-4 years.
Yeah,
and it was kind of a bummer. Like there's that kind of stuff, and I don't know. Like I still wonder like why the Kingpins care so much, and then he ended up being like, I'll give you my empire so you can be the queen. Like even now he's doing it too. Like what happened to Kingpin, man? Like what's anyway, so there's a lot of that in there that I kind of was trying to not like pick apart, but it kept getting thrown in my face. Like, there's a clear agenda of what's going on here,
I agree. I think I'm trying to think of the other negative I had. I think when I was watching it originally, I was like, why Kingpin do you care so much about this person? Well, let me say before I forget too, that whole thing where he just goes and puts the contact lens in her eye. Like anybody ever has put in a contact lens knows it's not that easy.
Yeah.
Especially if somebody else is going to do it.
Yeah. And if that other person is struggling
against it. There's no way it's going
It's a very delicate process.
Exactly. Yeah. It's a very delicate process. Everything needs to be calm and still when it's happening. So having like 5 people involved.
Yeah.
2 to hold her down, 1 to hold her head back, and then another guy to stick his big meaty finger in there.
His giant Kingpin finger, yeah.
And then the way they did it too, where these ghost hands came up and started doing sign.
Yeah.
I'm like, wouldn't it be better just to put some dialogue? Like if he says, "Hi, how are you doing?" Wouldn't it be better just for her to like read, "Hi, how are you doing?" as opposed to
having to focus on these.
It makes so much more sense. Like just because you can talk into your phone and it's going to print up what you're saying.
Yeah.
So that's all that need to be done. But for whatever reason, now she's seeing like these ghost hands sign to her. Yeah. And it's like, that is the dumbest thing. It looked so dumb. It was it was so extra.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why are they trying so hard? Either they didn't think, like they don't have phones, they don't know how phones work, and they didn't like figure that out, or they're just trying so hard to make sure that you see signing taking place. Like maybe like somehow it's like meeting her on her level. I don't.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, I don't understand why what is the point of that?
Would go that far. Yeah.
And then like he killed the interpreter.
Yeah,
like
what
why?
Was the reason for that?
Because he said like, I don't want anything to interfere with us communicating.
Yeah.
Like she wasn't interfering. She was doing her job.
Yeah.
Like why did you kill her?
Yeah.
And if there was something else going on, they never told us. Like, was she a spy? Was she?
It was just like, oh, Kingpin's a killer. Crazy killer
yeah,
guy.
right. Exactly,
right?
exactly.
And that's not great example of him doing that was in like season 3 when he kills the girl that Bullseye is obsessed with.
Yeah. Oh,
like,
yeah.
That was for a great reason. It was unfortunate, but he's like, my agenda is this.
Yeah.
So I have to kill this girl to get him to do what I want him to do.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was like, okay, I get it. Yeah, that's something King would do. He's a fucking bad guy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, but then just to kill some random interpreter lady for no reason.
Yeah. At least they never told us. Like, if there was a reason.
Like, why? What was the point of that?
Right.
I was gonna bring that up. That's actually in my notes, I think. Yeah.
Oh, is it? Right on.
I was like, that's stupid.
Yeah.
That didn't make me scared of Kingpin. I was like, this is just dumb.
Yeah. It makes no sense. And I was cool with the fact that it would make sense. He is the Kingpin. Why would you not have an interpreter there all the time? Like, if he's going to speak with somebody that speaks Russian and only speaks Russian, he's going to have that interpreter there all the time to break everything down.
Yeah.
Like, it's not weird for a person in power to have somebody like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then when she calls him out on, like, you say you love him, but you never learn sign language. That's true. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Like, if he did care for her so much and he never learned sign, just knows how to say a few things.
Yeah.
That it doesn't make sense unless you have an interpreter there all the time.
Yeah.
And you don't kill her. So it's just things like that are more annoying. That just it doesn't jive. Other than like you said, it's just trying to be shock value and say, look, I'm the Kingpin. Kind of thing.
I just kill who I want. Like, like Kingpin's a calculating guy too, though. You know, he's
right.
He's the Kingpin.
Yeah.
It's not just like go around and kill everybody because I want to.
Right.
You know? And that was sort of out of character. You know. So again, it came like from people that maybe didn't quite know him that well, know the character very well. Another thing, but man, and I've used this negative a lot with like primarily female characters that have been put in shows recently. Like she is not changed. Like she's not for me. What was her arc? Like she came into the show kind of just who she was, badass. This person wasn't trying to atone for anything. Yeah,
all the people that she killed along the way.
Yeah, all the shitty things. She's a bad person. Yeah, she's a bad person for all the things she's done. Maybe obviously misguided because she was a kid, but still, like she's done a bunch of bad things. And like when she came back to the town, was she trying to be better? Was she trying to run away? And then all of a sudden it's like, oh no, I want to take over Kingpin's spot. Oh, so
like where did that come from?
So you want to continue to be a bad guy, but you want to take over Kingpin's spot, like. So what is your focus here? What are you trying to do? And then by the end of it, it's like you're on good terms with your family. Like, where's the change at? Right.
You're still not a great person.
That has killed a lot of probably innocent people. And you're a bad person. You're an assassin. There's no indication like, oh, I'm here because I'm trying to leave that past behind. And move forward, connect with my roots.
Right.
Like, there's a great story in there that could just be about an assassin trying to escape her old life, reconnect with her roots in her hometown, and now she has to defend them from those people. That's simple. That's good. Go with that. That's perfect. That's it. But they didn't even focus on any one of those things. So like, what was her arc? What did she learn? How did she change? None of that. Like none of that happened. And I'm not trying to say that it's because it's a strong female character, but a lot of the more recent strong female characters in the Marvel series and movies and shows don't show any change. They come in knowing everything. They have all the abilities. They're super strong. And the movie or show ends with them having all the abilities, having all the knowledge, and being super strong. You know what I mean? So it's like, what journey are we going on right now? We're not going on one, right? It's just a sequence of events. It's at some point in her life, and that's it. Yeah. You know what I mean? So like that like for the storytelling, I was like, what is this? Yeah. What's the point?
That's
well
said. That's it. That's it. That is it.
So that was kind of annoying too. So yeah. So a lot of elements about this show just did not work. And we talked a little bit about how it was 8 episodes. And then Feige announced that it was unreleasable in the current status that it was in. Yeah. So they did some reshoots. They cut it down. Now it was 5 episodes. So obviously there were a lot of production issues overall with this show. And maybe this is the result of that. There's no focus because it was wheeled down so much. Things were changed and they just kind of slapped it together. trying to get a narrative across, and they weren't able to.
Yeah, they just had a bunch of parts, and they were trying to Frankenstein it to death or something.
Exactly. Yeah. So I mean,
or life.
Yeah.
Whichever.
Right. That could have been the. I don't know. But,
Yeah. True.
I wasn't there, but yeah, that's that. It came off as that. You can tell it was messy. It was messy. There's no focus. Like, who cares? So really, who cares? Like, what was the point? Why did we get this show? I think they should have took the tax write-off.
Yeah. Like a
take the loss right off.
Batwoman or Batgirl.
Batgirl. Just take the loss, write it off, and then move on.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like this. I don't want to take forever anymore. Just kind of talking about negatives. I will just say a couple things. Like I know in the comic book, again, it's very different. It does kind of go down the way where she does shoot Kingpin. Yeah, he lives. Still cares about her for whatever reason. Like after somebody shoots you, like
with the intent of killing you.
Yeah, with the intent of killing you, things got to be different. Things that got to change. I was trying to figure out like why he was so mad that once he made the offer to come back with me and she didn't do it, so he said, "Well, now I'm just mad. I'm going to come back and
kill you and your family."
You and your family. It's like she made a choice, man. You love her, let her go.
Yeah,
that's like one of the oldest things in the world.
Yeah.
The ending scene. That ending scene was very anticlimactic with she empowers her cousin and
they get abilities for
her 70-year-old grandmother
with Shazam
and they're whooping ass. It was that's what it was Shazam,
Blue Beetle or whatever. Sharing the abilities. Everyone gets a piece of the pie.
Right, we're all girl bosses.
Yeah, I was like, the grandma like knocks the guy into the room. I was like, oh, what are we doing here, man?
Yeah,
like, this is cartoon now. It's Looney Tunes.
Yeah,
that's my news. It's Looney Tunes, man. Like, what are we doing? Yeah. That was super cringy, hard to watch. Yeah.
I mean, she knows the Kingpin killed her father. I guess she still has some sort of love for him. Like at the end, she tried to heal the pain of his childhood.
Yeah,
kind of thing. And I don't.
Wasn't very greedy to me.
I don't know. Yeah, like he killed your. He killed your father.
Yeah.
I don't know if he had anything to do with her mom being killed. That might be a stretch because it sounded like, the dad had
some rivals.
Yeah, he had some rivals. So I will put it somewhere over there. Killed your dad, isolated you from your family. And again, to me, listen to this, like she really sounded like she isolated herself from her family because her cousin tried to reach out to her. And she ignored her. And then when she confronts her uncle and her grandmother, they're like, "Oh, we're sorry. We should have done more to reach out to you," kind of thing. It's like, "Oh, it's not her fault. It's not everybody else. It's everybody else's fault. It's not her fault."
Yeah.
Again, it's like she did the exact same thing.
Right. You had everybody's numbers. Yeah. You knew where they were all at.
Right. And then they were trying to reach out to you. At least her cousin was.
Yeah.
And you ghosted her. Right. So. Why are you so surprised necessarily when everybody else kind of ghosted you too or whatever? Yeah. So, I mean, they were doing it back and forth. So
I say be accountable for some of your decisions.
Right. And I get she was probably a kid at some points, but when her father died, she was already an adult at that point. What was up with that scene with her when she was in the motorcycle shop? And was she just being like a juvenile delinquent kind of thing? Like she does something where looks like she's trying to steal the bike. The cops already catch her. So she revs up the bike and has it crash through the window and smash the cop car. Was that just to be like an FU to the cops kind of thing? Like why?
Yeah, what was the point? Yeah, I almost forgot about that scene until you.
Until
you brought it up.
Why?
Yeah.
What was the point of that?
Yeah.
What were you there in the first place for? I mean, I don't know. I mean, it looked cool. Like the motorcycle, went up and smashed. That it looked fantastic.
That's probably what it was for, is to try to have something cool.
Yeah,
This is cool.
Let's do this.
Our main character did that, so she's cool too.
So that cool
so,
by association.
So come on, everybody, think she's cool. Trying to get So. Yeah, there's a lot of that, I think. Yeah.
Anything else? I feel like,
Yeah, I mean, I got a ton of like nitpicks, but I'm not gonna really go into them anymore. Like we shouldn't have to. I think we hit the main ones.
Anything you want to fire off?
No, I think I'm good. I think I'm good with that. So anyway, I think this show was very poorly done.
Right.
It wasn't genuine, and it was trying to do too many different things. Yeah.
And I mean, I did a lot of, research, just kind of looking things up. Like what game were they playing? That's why, you know, it was stickball.
Oh,
it was literally called stickball.
Yeah.
They play that and they still play it. They stopped playing it for a while. I think the last time they played it was like in 19 something, and a riot broke out.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like it was like, I want to say 1930 or something or sooner. But yeah, they were playing it. A riot broke out, and they're like, "Okay, we can't play this anymore." They're like, "That's enough." But they started back up again, and they're playing it. Again, doing the research, Oklahoma. It's off of the Choctaw. Am I saying? I feel like I'm not saying that.
Yeah, that's close.
Choctaw.
Yeah, I spelled Choctaw, but I think it's like pronounced
Choctaw.
I forgot.
Yeah,
I heard someone say
any other time. I watched the show.
Yeah,
but Oklahoma. And they had that in the skating rink. Like, if you look at the background, they had like Oklahoma, and then they had something like, it said like Okla, and then it said like Huma, like Huuma.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Oklahoma basically is a Choctaw word for, I think it's red people.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
So that's what Oklahoma basically means. Yeah, that's where it comes from.
Interesting.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of it. I mean, especially if you watch, what was that, Wayne's World, when they were partying with Alice Cooper, and they're like, it's pronounced Milwaukee, because they're doing that thing where they're like, yeah, so, well, you know, they're saying something about Milwaukee.
Yeah.
And like, oh, actually it's pronounced Milwaukee. And they were like, and they're all a bunch of professors, the whole band. Isn't that from the native? Yes, it is, Todd. And he's like talking to the drummer. Shit was hilarious.
That was pretty funny.
But yeah, so a lot of that region, you know, the northern part of America, especially.
Yeah.
Central North America, a lot of it is a lot of the words over there, they are Native American words.
Yeah, even a lot of Washington, all the towns up there are all like Native American. Like there's Puyallup, there's like a bunch of like names that are like native names, you know, that are pretty weird. Not weird, but like, different. Even like Mount Rainier, I think was originally called like Tahoma or something. Tahoma. But you know,
and that's awesome.
Changed it, but I think it was originally called Tahoma or something like that. So, but so that's pretty cool that they did that. Yeah.
All right. So, and then also with that stickball episode, when they show, and I actually liked that part. Again, you know, even then I was like, I wonder if they had girls playing back then, but they showed like the community. You know, they had like kind of like bleachers. They had kind of like, you know, stands for people to spectate in.
Yeah.
And I was like, I love that because it shows that they, you know, had a community and that they built things, and they weren't, again, just doing all your stereotypical where they're all in, you know, wigwams and TVs and all that kind of thing. They had building structures, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know, they had like a legitimate culture. My question, though, is they said that took place in 1200. When they showed the people, like the chiefs and, you know, the higher ups in the stands, they showed one guy that looked like he was in like some sort of like a Spanish, I don't want to say conquistador kind of thing, but they had somebody that was wearing European robes or European garb, so to speak. And I'm like, was anybody like that from Europe
at that time?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
No, because I mean, it's the whole thing, like 1492, Columbus.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Everything.
Like yeah, sure.
Yeah, it sounds like a date. Well, no, it's that whole thing in 1492, Columbus sailed the ocean blue. That's how you know. I know, right? That's the only reason why I know. That's a good one. That's the only reason why I know. So, yeah, so the Europeans, like whenever you hear about all the other stuff, the conquistadors, like the Aztecs, all those people being attacked and their culture being, you know, usurped and destroyed in the smallpox, everything takes place after that point in time. So then you had this thing that's going on in 1200 AD.
Yeah.
And you show this guy that clearly looks European. Like, what's going on there?
Was it a woman?
No, it was not. No, of course not. No, it was a white guy. It was a white male. It was a white male. So he was up to no good.
Yeah.
And maybe that's some sort of like reverse Easter egg. Maybe it's a setup for something else down the road, or if they don't pay it off, then they just, I don't know what they were doing.
Yeah,
they super screwed up.
They weren't paying attention to the time.
They super screwed up because this was, I want to say they said it was Alabama, 1200 AD, Alabama.
Something like that. Yeah.
And I honestly don't think they had Europeans that got that far inland.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I could be wrong. But like
Doesn't
I said,
if I were to guess, I don't think so.
Right.
Yeah. But again, they also made the women the best player on the field when they didn't play at all.
Right.
So, you know, they taking liberties, and they're probably not paying attention too much to historical.
Yeah, they're not caring that much about the facts, right? So how insulting is that to your people? Are you just glad that you've got some kind of win? That you see, you know, you're represented some kind of way, your history's represented some kind of way? Or do you get upset because it's not represented accurately? So we've already asked the question. I don't want to.
Yeah. Well, you guys can answer it for us. Yeah. So just jumping over to Rotten Tomatoes real quick. This is actually kind of shocking to me. 74%. Echo has 74% for critics, 62% for audience.
Okay.
That's pretty high for me.
I hear
that's shocking. Maybe not shockingly.
Yeah, I'm not too surprised.
That's pretty high for the quality of the show.
Yeah.
I don't want to just say the show was dumb, but there were a lot of things that were not done well. You know, and it was very apparent. And all of those things adding up make the show overall not great.
Yeah, well, I honestly, I would have been a little more nervous that the audience score might have been higher because 62, that's just, you know, a few points away from being like, you know, well, I was going to say a few points away from being 59, but yeah, who cares about that? But it is kind of a low score. You know, it's not like it's like 69 or whatever. It's 62.
That's
true. That it doesn't surprise me too much. I would have been really nervous if they gave it like, you know, if the audience score gave it like an 80. I'm really not surprised about the tomato meter. Like the critics, again, I think you mentioned this a long time ago. Like you kind of asked the question, are some of these critics like being paid off, or are they kind of on the take? I feel like a lot of them are, you know.
Yeah, it seems like it. And I don't want to get into too much of this, but like a lot of the positive videos about it are from influencers online that are, I don't want to assume diverse is how I'll say it.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of people that are okay, or seem to be okay with it from like younger influencers seem to be enjoying the show, or the ones that are talking about it.
Yeah.
So maybe they're being endorsed, or they actually like it, but it's kind of the same as I think it's over the last 2 weeks. There's been a big there's a YouTuber named Star Wars Theory. He's a big Star Wars guy. He talks about Star Wars. He's got 3 million subscribers.
Yeah.
He's a big Star Wars guy. And he got into a little issue because he had somebody on his podcast or on his show, a psychiatrist, a Middle Eastern female psychiatrist or psychologist come on and talk to him. And she had said some things about Star Wars and females and how it's been represented now.
Yeah.
And he got a lot of people attacked him for it. Like a lot of like female Instagram influencers attacked him over it. And they were of the group that really enjoys the sequel series because Disney is endorsing them, sending them stuff and all that kind of stuff. And that was his argument, was that, like, people are just doing it because they can get something out of it, you know what I mean? And point being is that it seems like there's a certain category of people that are enjoying it, maybe because of a specific benefit, potentially.
Yeah, right.
And that's what this seems like to me, is that maybe some of these critics are getting something out of it.
Or maybe they just want to be, get on their good side at least, kind of thing. I hear you.
Just know that we're probably not going to be getting any gifts from Disney anytime soon, based on our catalog, I think.
Right. We'll be getting gifts from anybody.
Yeah.
From anybody.
Right.
And we like it that way.
Exactly. So I'm probably sitting at, honestly, for me, man, if I probably have to say skip it for me, because the show is not good. It's not good. Yeah. If you solely want to see some Native American representation in a Marvel series, that's the one thing you want to see, maybe check it out. There's some things that are kind of cool. But overall, I'm sitting at skip it, maybe a 55%. Like I didn't like it.
Yeah, one thing I'm gonna say really quick too is I guess if you do want to see Native American culture represented, and I don't want to say it's just now dawning on me, but maybe just Disney is not the place to go to see accurate representation.
Yeah.
So that's just the bottom line of it. They are going to do the check boxes and all that kind of stuff, but you're not going to see genuine, authentic history represented, whether it's dealing with the Middle East, Pakistan, whether it's dealing with Native American people. You know what I mean? In this show, you're not going to see it. They are going to take liberties. They are going to do what they want so they can, maybe just so they can push their own agenda, whatever the case may be. So maybe that's the thing. Maybe it's I don't want to say it's not fair to do to look at them for that reason. You got to realize this is it's a live action cartoon show for the most part, and that's not even a good cartoon. So yeah, I might give the show. I would probably say I would maybe say skip it for the same reason. I'm somewhere between skip it and then I don't know, or if you got nothing better to do, kind of thing. Again, like if you do want to see some sort of Native American culture, if you want to see it, it's there. Is it done well? Probably not.
Yeah.
Some aspects of it are, I'm assuming. I mean, I'm assuming it has to be. Some parts of it are, but overall, not so much. So as far as the percentage is concerned, I might be somewhere around the audience score. I might give it maybe a 62. Yeah, I'm literally like, I might give it a 60. What does that say? Yeah. Yeah. I might give it, like I said, I might give it, actually, I'll give it a 60 just because there's not a whole lot with Native American culture out there. So that is a cool thing. It would be better if it was done. It would be better if it was done better.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's for sure. Yeah. I mean, I didn't go to bed angry after seeing this. Right. It could be because of how many times this has happened now. Yeah. But I kind of just felt the same way about most of the Disney
whatever
plus shows.
Yeah.
Just average.
Yeah.
Maybe Secret Invasion is probably the worst thing I've seen. That's probably the worst
here's a question.
Thing.
What do you think is the worst, Secret Invasion or this?
Secret Invasion for sure.
You want to think about it?
No, not at all. I don't have to think about that.
Take your time.
That was the biggest piece of shit I think I've seen.
Yeah.
From
that was the most wasted potential too.
Yeah.
That was the most wasted potential.
But man, that was horrible. But at least in this, Daredevil showed up once. That's kind of cool, I guess. And there's some other things, maybe, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
But well, whatever.
Right.
So is that it for Echo?
2 more things.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
These are quick. One, the Ronin character, Maya. Yeah, I don't know. I can't call her Myra. Maya was the first. She was Ronin. She was the original Ronin.
Oh.
For the people that may not know that in the comic book,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, she was the original Ronin. Because they showed Ronin and you couldn't tell necessarily the gender of her or of the character apparently, and then she kind of takes off her mask and it was Maya.
Oh wow!
She was the original Ronin, and then I thought it was Clinton. Yeah. Or Hawkeye.
I knew that because when I was reading the comics at the time when he was Ronin.
Yeah.
That was when I was really into comic books.
Yeah.
And I know that he wasn't the first. He's inspired by somebody, but I didn't know. I had no idea who.
Yeah.
Or I read the name and just didn't know who that was at the time.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. So that was a cool little tidbit. The scene where I think when her father dies and she goes and she holds him and then he kind of puts his hand on her cheek and has you see these little red fingerprints on her face.
Yeah.
That is something that in the comic book that the character did that actually happens where he kind of puts a bloody hand on her face and he basically asks the Kingpin to look after her. I don't know the whole situation there, but that's happened. And what she ends up doing later, she ends up putting a white handprint over her face.
That's her like.
Yeah, that's her logo. So I thought, okay, she's working for Sauron. Respect. But it turns out,
put it together now. Yeah,
she's working for Saruman, the white wizard. Nice. So that's where that comes from. And then the last thing is, and I looked online, I never saw an answer, not a good one. Why did they switch her character from being Cherokee? No, not Cherokee. No, she was Cheyenne.
Yeah.
From Cheyenne to the Choctaw.
Yeah. I think I saw something in one of the reviews, and it had to do with something to do with size or the type of culture or location, something like that. There was something in one of those areas of reasoning. Yeah,
I heard like in the comic book, it was very generic. Like they were kind of all over the place with, like her representation. So they couldn't necessarily. You could say this, but you could also say this.
Yeah,
it's because of the things she had in her house. Maybe she just likes collecting, different aspects from other, similar cultures or whatever. Yeah. But I wonder how people from the Cheyenne Nation feel about that. That they got switched out. Gypped, what I mean? Like, why aren't there needs to be somebody with the somebody that's Cheyenne with the podcast needs to be like, I've been, or Instagram. Yeah, Disney's done it to me. I'm tired of your racism. Whatever. So that's just a couple little tidbits.
Okay, got it.
But other than that, that's it.
That's it. Okay, that's gonna be our talk for that. Let's get into quickly what are we gonna do this week? One more thing we gotta talk about after that. But what are we gonna do this week?
Nothing. I don't think I watched much of anything.
Gotcha.
I watched this. Oh, I did get a car.
Oh, that's your car out there?
Yes, it's basically the exact same car I had before, everybody.
Oh, so you did what I did.
All the way. Yeah, I know. I thought that too. I'm like, man, this is exactly what Trent did. So I think it's a newer model. I think it's actually like maybe one step down from the one I had before.
Oh, as far as like the
like the style of it, because there's no heated steering wheel. Oh, I was so mad. No heated steering wheel. I'm done.
In this climate,
you need,
especially in the summertime, you need that.
Right? Yeah, no, right. Yeah, I get up in the morning. It's like 55 degrees, 60 degrees. That's terrible.
Yeah.
Everybody listening all over the world where it's freezing right now. I kid.
It's horrible out there. Yeah.
But I was just like, just give me a car. I need a car. Give me a car. Let's go.
And did you even you're just like, I had this one kind of, let's take it.
Yeah. And it was like saying, I was like, man, I really don't want the same color. Like, that's just, it feels weird. But then they're like, okay, well, we can get one and have it brought over. And I was like, not too much. So
I need it now.
Let's just take this.
I want to leave the lot right now.
Right. And they're like, I don't even want to wait. I just want to be like, if I got to come back tomorrow or do whatever, like, I don't care about.
Back.
Yeah. I'm not coming back.
Else where I can walk out of here with the car.
Yeah. So, basically the exact same car, newer model.
Did you go to the same place or?
Yeah, same place. It's like maybe, like I said, it's like maybe a step down, but it gets me from A to B and back to A again. So
nice.
There's that.
Very good. Got your car. Cool.
Yeah.
I watched Dave Chappelle's The Dreamer, the stand-up, his recent stand-up.
Oh yeah, I think I saw that a while ago. Yeah.
That was good. For not quite for the comedy was okay. Like I've never been a big fan of his just straight stand-up specials. Like they're okay to me.
Yeah.
But The Dreamer, man, it was very inspiring. I really enjoyed the message of his stand-up.
Oh, I hear you.
Yeah. By the end, I was like, yeah. It's like, I need to follow my fucking dreams, man.
Well, that's cool. Right,
it's very, very inspiring. But that is the first joke where you talked about with Jim Carrey and then
me and Jim Carrey, and he's like all in the character.
And then his punchline, man, I could not stop laughing. Like I know it pissed a lot of people off, man, but gosh damn, I could not stop laughing. It was so that first punchline, the first joke of the show, man, I watched it 4 times. I could not stop laughing. But yeah, that was pretty good. I just randomly started watching some South Park because I'd never really watched it regularly.
Okay.
I watched shows here and there, episodes just when it was like about a specific topic.
Yeah.
So I watched 4 or 5 episodes of the first season.
Oh wow, the first season.
Yeah, it's old, you know.
Oh, big time. Yeah,
it's a little dated, I think. But that was okay. I was kind of getting through that, having something in the background, basically.
Yeah.
And then I started rewatching Arrested Development again because it had been long enough for me to not see it.
Time to go back.
And it's so funny.
That's cool.
So funny. But outside of that, that's basically it.
Do you watch any of that Cat Williams stuff?
Nah.
Oh, really? Have you heard about it?
What is it like?
The interview he had? He was on some other. He's on a show called I don't know, Shay Shay or Club Shay Shay. Yeah, it's interesting. I'm sure everybody out there is like listening, like, yeah, we know about it. What are you talking about? Essentially, he calls out a lot of comedians.
Really?
Yeah, big time.
Interesting.
Like big time.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, I think I saw something about Kevin
you probably
Hart
heard about
responding to it recently.
Right.
So it must have been that.
It was that. It was that. So it's interesting. I would say check it out. But yeah, I've seen that. It was I don't know. On some levels, it's cool to hear somebody hopefully telling the truth. But at the same time, like on some levels, you hate to see like, comedians kind of tearing each other down or whatever. But there's apparently, there's a lot of, let me put it this way. There's a lot of stuff that goes on in the background. Apparently, if all this is true, and it seems like it is, that, the dreamer inspired you, hearing all this would
be the opposite.
Yeah, it would be the opposite. What's the opposite of inspired? Despire? I made that up. But yeah, so anyways.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, check it out when you get a chance.
Yeah, for sure. Is that it for that?
That's it. That's it. That's
I got
it.
one thing I got to talk about.
Let's do
Bring this onto the table.
Yes,
I wanted to do this at the beginning. I completely forgot about it. So it had already gotten rolling. But this is an ammo box that was sent to us by our good friend Wilbur McKesson, the author. He spray painted it himself, did all this on the front.
Nice.
And yeah, he sent this to me in the mail, and this is what it has.
You were making me nervous when you were holding that because I feel like there's nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
I only know because it was hard to open. That's why. That's why.
It's probably the paint. Okay.
Maybe yeah. So inside are 2 copies of his next book, unreleased, not released. Yeah.
Oh,
one of these is for you, one of these is for me, and he said to read what he wrote on the air. So I don't know what they say. I just gotta make sure. Okay, that one's for you.
Something negative.
And then this is for
He's
me.
gonna be like, "Why do you suspend belief?"
He had like carved out the foam and put his new book.
That's impressive.
In this ammo box. His new book's called Retribution. Having trouble getting it out.
Can I read what he wrote to me? Mark, sleep with one eye open.
What?
Sleep with one eye open.
What's the reason for this?
I got no idea. I'm assuming it's because I know I kind of called him out when he asked me about the whole suspending belief thing.
Okay, gotcha. Because I was trying to avoid it, because he did. He did say he's like I don't think too much of it. He's like I was being stupid. I was like, oh, did you do something? He's like, I want you to read it on the air or read it, and I was like, oh, that's something important, but it's just, now I know
deep or profound.
And I have no Drew, so he's there, Will, and I know he's just messes around. Yeah, I heard the same thing with me. See one open.
Oh, you're on the list too. Yeah. Good. Get him.
And it's signed Wilbur McKesson, the author. And this is his new novel, man. Novel number 2 in the Bearing Group series with Max Fontaine. Yeah, there's him right there on the back. You guys, he wasn't on the video, but yeah. So basically, this is his next book. We talked about he had his first book, Insertion, come out, and we had him on the show. We interviewed him, and then he came in and talked. Well, I
wasn't here. Well, no, I was for this.
I interviewed him, and then the next time we had him on a week later was for Andor. Yeah, he was on for the show, so we didn't have any video back then. But he's an author. You guys heard those episodes? They're great. But this is his next book. It comes out in June. This summer coming out. Yeah. And so we got early release copies. But reason why he sent these to us, well, one is to get us a copy of the book because Will's our friend. We be in. Secondly is that, and I can't really talk about it until next week, but we have a special thing going on, a partnership that we created to do something kind of fun.
Promotional contest.
Yeah, promotional. Yeah, exactly. Over the next few months, up until the release of the book. So can't talk about it yet until next week. We'll have it all spelled out for you next week. But honestly, man, thank you, Will. You are the man. I can't wait to break this up and start reading it.
I guess clearly he's coming after us.
Yeah. Right? Yeah. And but yeah, and this is.
Oh, maybe it's a hint into the book.
Oh, is it?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe there's something in the book. Maybe it's a clue.
Well, I guess we got to read the book.
Ooh.
But anyway, yeah. So we'll mention the full thing next week. But basically, man, Will's like my hero, man. This is his second novel. It's like it's a full-on novel, hardcover, printed. He's already got a couple more written. He said already done, and he's pushing forward, man. He's doing exactly what we all want to do, which is like follow our dreams and do the thing we know we were meant to do and want to do. You know,
we can start hanging out with authors, man.
Yeah,
we already know like 2 authors that are doing it. Yeah, that are doing big things.
Right. We need to hang out with a lot of people that are in the same.
They're the ones that are getting it industry.
Done. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, what are we doing? We're just sitting here talking every week.
We're just sitting here talking,
sitting here watching movies and talking about it every week. What are we doing? You know. But yeah. So anyway, man, big shout out to Wilbur McKesson. All his information's in the show notes every week, so check it out.
Appreciate you.
This book comes out this summer, and we're gonna talk about it a little bit more next week.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Is that it?
Be excited.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's it. We made it.
That's it. We did it.
Yeah. We did it. So talk about Echo. Next week, the schedule's been getting kind of wonky. I think we're talking about Zom 100 next week.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I'm actually already 7 episodes into it, and I am really enjoying it.
I watched when it first came out. I believe I watched it up until I want to say it stopped for whatever reason. So I think I saw like the first
really badly. Yeah.
So I watched all those episodes. And it's good. And again, I have my theory about why people like the zombie apocalypse.
Exactly. Yeah, which I really want to get into about the next week, how they capitalized on that.
Right, exactly. Yeah. And there's a live action movie. I'm probably going to try to
I'm going to try to watch that before. Yeah, also. But yeah, we're covering Zom 100 next week. So it's a very popular anime. Yeah. It's a zombie anime, but with a little bit of a twist.
A little bit? With the twist?
Just a little bit of a twist. But anyway, that's what we're doing next week. So that's it. We did it.
We did it again.
Thank you guys for checking us out as always.
Appreciate you.
We love doing this, and we'll continue to do it. But help us out by checking out our socials.
Oh yeah,
the gospel. We keep doing this at the end. We should be doing it at the
beginning. You know what to do. Tell them, but you know what to do.
Check us out on the Godspod everywhere except for Facebook, which is Geek Off The Street. Do us a favor, head over to YouTube and subscribe to us. I'm trying. I haven't mentioned this to Mark yet, but I'm trying to get us to 500 subscribers by our 3-year anniversary, which is next month. So if you can subscribe to our YouTube, that's been my goal for the last year. I haven't told anybody about it, but I've been trying to get there by doing content. So if you guys help us, that'd be great. And then also get over to Apple Podcasts and leave us a 5-star review and write a review telling us what we're doing great. Don't tell us what we're doing bad because I don't want to hear it.
Keep it to yourself.
Yeah, keep it to yourself. But anyway, that's it, right? We did it.
That's it.
We're good.
That's
All right. So my name is Trent.
And my name is Mark.
And this has been
Geek Off the Street. What was that thing we used to say? Keep it to yourself. Well,
yeah.
How did that? Was it just that?
I think it had to do with that.
Yeah.
Like if you have some, you guys want to some questions or comments, concerns, you want to tell us what we're talk to us. Yeah. If you have anything negative to say,
keep it to yourself.
Something like
that. You know what we always say? Keep it to yourself. We got to talk to RJ.
Yeah. Right.